AI. Do you see that as a threat?
A lot of people are concerned that AI would remove the jobs and it will take over human touch.
4 years ago, when I first joined,
Yes.
when I looked at the 3D printer that
Yes.
we had, I felt like magic, and today it feels like an old technology.
Now we are looking at each student will have their own 3D printers.
Yes.
So rather than doing sketching and things, so they are having their small 3D printers and they are developing small products. We are not an institute which is just focusing on technology.
Yeah.
We are focusing on the traditional ways technology is supporting and going along with the industry.
One city or country that you think is already leading the future of design?
As per the data which is available and published, Singapore and Denmark.
Thoughts that you would like to give as an advice to these young designers?
I think they should need to take design as active.
Hi, ma'am. Welcome to Echo House. Today we are here to talk about the future of design, technology, and innovation, even in education. And today we have Dr. Koshalpreet Kaur, who is the Dean of School of Design at Sushant University. She has had over 20 years of experience in education and as also an industry expert. And for myself, I'm Avinash, and I'm currently working as a product artist at a startup. And I had started actually working at this startup when I was in the second year of college, and we kind of evolved from there. And it also is a futuristic product. We do a lot in crypto and we do a lot in AI. So that's what we are here to discuss about, future and AI.
Yes.
So my first question would be, as a person who is shaping the next generation of designers and the next generation of students, how important do you think the future of design is, or how do you think the future of design is kind of going towards?
So just to start with, I think Avinash, I've taught him. He's my student, and I think nothing better than he interviewing me and we both discussing future of design, and especially him working towards the design. He's specialized in product design, and I think I would like to give a little more detail about Avinash. He got a patent also while he was in his third year.
Yes.
With that was with design and technology with the engineering team, and I'm really proud of him. Yes. So yes, Avinash, coming to future of design, I think the time has gone when the designers were only making products or objects, which were aesthetically appealing, or they were beautiful. Years back, it was the designer's role was to make beautiful things or spaces beautiful. Now the future is which is going more towards, with a lot of technology coming in with AI, and designers are more of problem solvers rather than just the creative people creating objects and things. And it is moving the future which would move, and which how we are training our students also at the School of Design here at Sushant University, is that we are making them more problem solvers and understanding human centric. So what are the issues, and then catering to the needs of that. So that is how the future of design also would go towards. You need to be a problem solver first, the user experience, all that connects with all the design fields, irrespective of its fashion, interior, product. It has to have a user experience, a problem solving, human centered touch to that. Of course, a lot of AI is happening, a lot of technology is advancing, and it's advancing at a very, very rapid pace. And yes, we are also training our students with the same pace with which the technology is moving with respect to especially the design education.
That's great. And just touching upon that AI and also the human touch, it's moving very rapidly.
Yeah.
So do you see AI or the future of what designers bringing with terms of AR and VR? Do you see that as a threat to human designers? Or do you see it as like a complementary where we work with each other? Or do you think AI is just gonna completely stop after a certain time? It's all just hype up now, and tomorrow it's gonna end.
So you've taken up all the options and possibilities, and you have to pick or choose one or take one. This question is so still it's been design education is. We have been doing design education since years, but still it is a new field for many people. A lot of parents come, students come, and then they are looking for what are the job opportunities, and we have a long discussion, and it's very open, and we make them understand. And coming back to your question is about this is, a lot of people are concerned that AI would remove the jobs and it will take over human touch, but no, I think it is both. As human, as any, especially with respect to design, a design has to have that human touch, the empathy, the emotion to it. And yes, of course, it is, the machines are complementing, the technology is complementing the design, rather than, we should not be taking it as a threat, we should be taking it as a support. So a designer should be taking support of the technology with AI tools to enhance their design, to speeden up the process. But that human touch, and if I think designers, when we are teaching our students also, it's very important that they are not dependent too much on the AI. It has to be having a critical thinking. Otherwise, the design will be very generic. So if the design has to be unique, it has to be having that critical thinking part of it attached, which is like the human touch, the empathy, the emotion, the understanding cultures. So that all will be, so they will go hand in hand. It's nothing that they will replace each other or one will dominate. There has to be a balance, how a designer is using the technology and AI tools for designing products or understanding the problems as such, for that matter. Yeah.
When I started out,
sorry, but it's completely not a threat.
It is not a threat.
It is not a threat at all. And we are training students with the AI tools. So whatever we are doing, we are training them so that, for your case also, you're using a lot of AI when you're working.
Let me tell you, when we started out in the design school, there was no AI.
Yes.
Nothing was there. And suddenly in a couple of years, there was so much AI.
Yes.
And today, as part of someone who works at a new age startup, we use a lot of AI. And it has been made the work easier. And so now we are creating...
It's speeding up the process.
We can only focus on the product more. And the problem that we are solving, we can focus on that way better. Instead of doing all the paperwork or the grunt work.
And then you can use your design skills, what you learned during your design education years. Yes.
Yeah. As part of it, we just did solve problems. And that's how, as a product designer, I grew at the university. But talking about the university and classrooms, I was part of a batch that was in the COVID. And our first year, we had no classroom. My bedroom was my classroom. So what do you think in the next 10 or 15 years, how do you think the classroom would look like?
In the future,
with regards to the technology that's growing around you today?
So in the past years, I think it was not too great experience for even as educators and even as students. Though we managed and you learned through your through the online mode and hybrid. But yes, of course, nobody enjoyed that. So a classroom has to have a physical, digital. So you have to be present there. You need to have that digital support system of technology around it. And along with that, it has to be experiential. So when I say experiential, is that you need to experience the things you do, you make, even to that matter that you are interacting with some people whom you are problem solving. So that's also an experience when you're designing for some particular sector, maybe some individual, they are your clients. So that's an experience when you interview them, understand problems, and then you design according to their particular needs and requirements. So it has to be all. And yes, if you are talking a lot of maybe if you're going beyond 10, 15 years, maybe there are holograms in the classrooms. Very, very digital and completely with the syncing with the science. Maybe students, that's a new future. Already we are doing a lot of international collaborations where students from foreign universities are coming to our campus, and even our students are going abroad to do the workshops and seeing how design is evolving globally. So that can also be implemented with the virtual reality. So rather than just the Google Meets or Zoom calls, it will be complemented with virtual reality. And yes, here at the School of Design, here at the Sushant University, we are already into the lab, which is the VR lab, and supporting that. So the interaction maybe at the global level with other students, other institutions. So that's how, we are thinking ahead of how our classroom learning and experience of the student to be. To learn as a designer, to develop as a designer.
just 4 years ago when I first joined,
Yes.
when I looked at the 3D printer that we
Yes.
had, it felt like magic. And today, it just feels like an old technology.
Old
Today we are
technology.
printing steel. We are,
Yes.
using everything that is virtual.
Even 3D
And-
printers for glass,
Yeah.
metal,
Exactly.
for fabrics. And I mean, that is just that every student, earlier it was one
Yeah.
3D printer in the lab
Yeah.
when it was there. Now we are looking at each student will have their own 3D printers.
Yes.
So rather than doing sketching and things, so they are having their small 3D printers and they are developing small products.
Yeah.
Maybe it's with product or with interior students. They are making small furniture pieces for their small samples, which they are creating a space for as assignments.
Yeah.
So that's how it is moving that rapidly, and that's how technology would support the design education.
I remember doing a 3D printed
Yes.
product, which was a hair dryer,
Yeah.
a red colored one. It was
Yes.
actually kind of a good project
Yes.
that we did,
Yeah.
and the results were very realistic.
So in just these last 5 years, you see how
Yeah, it is.
just a 3D printer
Yeah.
has grown, and
Thank you so
you would
much.
have heard from people saying 3D printers at home and people
Yeah,
can print their
it
dresses.
It is, yes.
So that's how it is moving so fast at that level, at that ground level, at a mass level also.
Yeah, and also at the same time, when we're talking about these physical products,
Yeah.
when I remember for the first time when I came to college, it was not for a proper classroom. It was actually a wood workshop.
Yeah.
That was the only thing we were allowed to do. So, and we could not do that online, of course. So it was a wood workshop, and we
Yeah.
came in, we did a lot of joints and everything. We made some things.
Yes.
So how do you think that is important? That human touch,
Yeah.
that physical touch? Because today everything is digital. If I
Yes.
want to make a
Mhm.
prototype, I make it
Mhm.
3D instead of before we used to use raw materials.
Yeah.
How much is that important? How much is the physical touch still important in terms of design?
So if we can take it as terms for traditional or technical,
Yeah.
the traditional way or techniques versus the
Yes. The digital way,
technology
yes.
or the digital ways of it, it is both again go hand in hand. See,
Okay.
we are at a time span of the how the globe or the world is moving. Is we can't just put a wall or a full stop at what traditional practices were
Mhm.
and just go ahead with just the technologies going on. Maybe after 50 years or 40 years, that could be the phase. But yes, we have to evolve together, keeping the traditions, the traditional methods, and keeping in mind the technology in hand. So here, so if you would remember that we would have a lot of artisans coming in,
Yes.
for example, the traditional way, if we look at, and that's also the sustainable way. So after COVID, I think everybody realized that we have to go to the old ways, how the living used to be, and that how also syncs with the products we use around us. Maybe it's an interior space or a product we use or a garment we wear or the way we communicate. So all the things. So getting that experience. So, for example, last year we had a very renowned artisan. He flew from Srinagar. He stayed at a campus. 3 days he was working on projects with students with paper mache. And students, they developed a product which is part of Red Fort now, which is a permanent installation.
Yeah. Okay.
And students' work is displayed
Yeah.
there from the 2 batches junior
Yes.
than yours.
Yeah.
So that is very important that you understand the material, you understand the techniques, and yes, apply the technology to it. Complement it with the technology, and yes, students are learning the AI ways also for designing tools like using 3D printers, but taking the traditional methods, ways, techniques, modifying them accordingly.
Yeah, that is
And
great.
supporting. So both have to go parallelly. We are not an institute which is just focusing on technology.
Yeah.
We are focusing on the traditional ways.
Yeah.
Technology is supporting and going along with the industry.
Yeah.
So it is very, very much industry oriented. So whatever is going with the industry, which is at par with the education
Yeah.
delivery, how the curriculum is developed for the design educator.
I remember doing a project in my 4th semester where we had the task was just to make something out of crafting. And it was a pain at the first, but
Yes.
then is when I found out
Yeah.
the ever great terracotta.
Yes.
And with a lot of research I found out that there is no replacement to what that
The
material
terracotta
brings
is
in.
a
The
material.
way it cools down everything. You cannot 3D print it. You cannot do anything. It has to
Yes.
be done with hand. And I was not
Yes.
skilled enough, so you had to find a person who could do it. And which was very great, because then you had to kind of interact with them and how they were doing it. I don't think there is any replacement to that
No.
coming soon.
And that's every year, first year students have to have that clay
Yeah.
workshop, and it's a beautiful tactile movement
Yes.
which you feel the material and shape things up. And again, we call, I mean, you have already done it as design intervention.
Yeah.
So design intervention is basically looking at the traditional ways and then bringing new designs and the way we are using the things around that.
Yes.
A very, very common example I think that everybody can relate to here is with mobile phones,
Yeah.
which we are carrying now. You know, if you'll go to any traditional craft bazaar, you'll find a lot of textile embroideries which are made of for the mobile pouches,
The back covers.
the back
yes.
covers or mobile pouches. So that's, you know, we are learning traditional techniques, embroideries, carrying along, and yes, adapting in a new way. We are carrying mobiles, we need a pouch. So both needs to be going parallelly, understanding and not forgetting our roots, of course.
Yes,
Yes.
that is true. Yes, and
Yeah.
looking at those materials and at these kind of traditional ways of working,
Yes.
we also they are more sustainable in the
Yes.
future. Terracotta is something when you're used,
Yes.
completed with the product, you can kind of break it and
Break
remold
it.
it into a different product.
Different product.
And this is what renewable is.
Yes.
And how do you think that sustainability is a huge thing? I mean, India is
Huge.
moving towards it. Everybody is moving towards it.
Yes.
How does that play an important part in the design that is up and coming?
So again, sustainability is an area which is again the future for design, and are connecting with our previous discussion. The traditional ways, methods, materials, processes were very sustainable, where the raw materials, which the process you are doing are very sustainable, and the design intervention, which you all practice also with the craftsmen, with the practices and things, which help you understand how you carry your traditional methods to the new technology and the new ways which you are doing. Like for the terracotta also, we've done so much of design intervention with terracotta,
Yes,
which is
we
even
have.
displayed at the campus also, the products. And I think there's still no other product, no sustainable product that keeps the water cool.
Yeah.
And different, trying with different shapes with that utensils as products, and playing with that material with respect to all areas in the design field, even walls, even the flooring, which will keep the building cooler.
Yes.
So understanding the material and sustainability again, you know, from process to how it is made and what is the life of the product. If you remember, we banned thermocol.
Yes.
So earlier, I remember in maybe our school time or college time, there were a lot of projects in maybe your school time also. You were making a lot of projects with thermocol.
Yes.
So thermocol takes 500 years to regenerate.
Decompose.
So decompose. So we've stopped. So thermocol is banned at our campus, our building and projects, and students are sensitized about using good sustainable materials for their even projects which they are developing, even for the prototypes also. Yeah.
That is very true. And sustainability is not just about materials, is it? It's about how we shape and redesign the products. And today there are a lot of products that are multi-use products. Something that you can use for multiple things, not just one. So it kind of decreases the amount of things today that you have to carry. For example, when I leave, I don't carry my wallet because my phone can do everything. So that is carbon footprint reducing.
True.
How do you see that going forward? And how do you see that as designers also? How do we incorporate it in everything?
So you take the example of your product only, the one which you designed in your final year, which we did together. I think that was very, very interesting product. It is like 3 products: air purifier, humidifier and aroma.
Yes.
So instead of having 3 different gadgets and equipments at home, so it's only one. So that's also a sustainable approach when we are reducing. So you're reducing all the steps. You're reducing the material, process, space, everything. And of course, advanced and supported with the technology, which is there.
That is true.
And,
and it, I mean, I just currently in a design conference, I saw a bed that could just crawl up into the wall and stick itself. I mean, that's very useful. I mean, you don't have to have the bed when you're not sleeping there. That creates
the
that
space.
Yes, that space
for
as an extra part
of that,
which is also amazing. And looking at the future of design, no limits. There is no technological implications. What is that one design trend or that one design product that you're just in love with, or you want it to happen?
So I can't say it one product. So it's limit. I mean, the
Yeah,
limit
there's no
is
limit.
beyond.
Yes.
Yes. So it cannot be one product.
Yeah.
But yes, I think looking at, I mean, really the futuristic thing, maybe the product, the design or objects. So they start. They are feeling. There's a feel to that.
Mm.
And they are more. They are responding to emotions, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe the climate, maybe for example, like in Delhi here,
Yeah.
we face the pollution problem.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a wall, this black back panel wall, which is absorbing carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Or maybe the clothes which I am wearing, they start responding with my mood and the color changes. So that's how that advanced we can think, and that these are the kind of even exercises we give to our students also.
Mm.
You think that your clothing changes color with your mood.
Yeah.
So you're getting angry and your color of your dress starts getting towards red or moving towards white, or even they're changing the shape. So maybe with interiors, with that space you have, the walls start moving automatically when they're
Yeah.
sensing that there are
Yeah.
more people inside. Or maybe like a window pane, it's changing color as on depending on the sunlight.
Yeah.
So we are looking at design in the future which is more sensory,
Yeah.
which feels and responds.
Mm. Yes.
So that is the next
step
towards
design. Yes.
designing. And currently also, if you'll see your smartwatches,
Yeah.
which were not there 15 years back.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have not thought that somebody would even count our steps, how much are we sleeping, how many calories are we burning, and all that. Even the Apple Watch has the ECG also you can do.
Yeah, you can.
So that is how that fast is moving. And I think I'm very sure that we'll have these sensory. They're already, the research is going on.
Maybe the
But
next thing is brain
the next thing
implants.
is yes.
Where they read your thoughts.
Yes. With that.
But yeah, and also what I like the most about it as a personal experience is it's still an older design. There is right now, recently, about 6-7 months back, I installed these automatic switches everywhere for
Yes.
fan and everything.
Sensory.
Yeah, the
The
sensory
sensory
ones,
ones.
and it just automatically
Yes.
switches off when I leave the room.
Leave.
And so before, my mother used to scold me every time. And
Every
now,
time. So that is
it's
the
just
job
easy-
well done by a
Exactly.
designer with support of technology.
Yes.
Yes, so that's how the role of designer, solving the problem, coming
Yeah.
back to from where we started.
Using technology,
Designers
yes.
as problem solvers. So the problem was that you were forgetting to switch off
Yeah.
an electricity bill and sustainability.
Yes.
Again, all things are connected. And as a designer, you would have thought of this problem. And then, I mean, that's where the solution is, and how designers are working ahead towards that.
It is. That is
Yeah.
great. Right now, we move on to some quick fire questions.
Okay.
And so these are questions that, it's preferably for one-liners as answers.
Maybe I don't think
Yeah,
with
I
design
mean,
we can stop with a word or a
That
line.
is-
Okay,
that
let
is
us
true.
try.
That
Maybe
is
we
true.
can try that.
So let's have. So the first question is one design tool that will become obsolete in 10 years.
Not really. I don't think
Not
any. I
really, yeah.
cannot say particularly any one design tool, but yes, design tools would evolve with AI support. So
Yeah. They
any
adapt.
tool adapt.
Yes.
Yes, adapt with AI. So there'll be new tools which will be evolving, and with the support and intervention of the AI into that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Once,
But like
yeah.
as a student, so the basic tools which we teach you would remain. There'll be a little more evolution to that, but they would remain because they are the core for the design. As a designer, they're very important.
As schools do teach us basic things, and
Yes.
along the way we kind of evolve
Yes.
with the software.
So that
that
way.
is true. One skill that every designer must learn for the future.
AI and strategic thinking.
Strategic thinking.
Yes. So a designer, it's not only again creating just the
Mm.
objects or things, but a strategy around it, which is as a designer's strength. So that will come only if you are understanding and you're good at people-centric
Yeah.
design, and you are doing problem solving, and then that's how you strategize, and then that's how you create new objects or spaces, or maybe a new garment line or a clothing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Physical or digital, which has a bigger and a better future?
That's phygital.
Phygital.
Have you heard of phygital?
I have not.
So that's physical and digital. Yes, it's a term. You can check also. Anybody can check. It is a phygital. We call it as phygital, which is both.
Okay.
Physical as well as digital skills, as we discussed.
Both of them are equally
Both of them
important.
are equally important. And but then that's a challenge which we also, not a challenge, but then we are conscious of training our students at the university, at the School of Design, when we are doing that, they are trained both in the physical skills also when they are doing sketching, and then towards the digital tools also.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very common question as foundation students when they join us, why do we have to do 100 sketches? Why do we have to do that? That's again very important for a designer to, I always explain it to them that as a designer, you need to be very good with your hand sketching, that you can sit down anywhere and you can put your thoughts into images. And of course, then you develop it digitally also with the support of digital tools. And yes, what we have seen with students is then it's a choice also. Some remain really good with the hand sketching, hand skills, and some are very good with the digital skills. So that's a choice, and how they build up according to and how they are doing during the years of the design education. But yes, both are important and we give equal importance to both.
That is great. One city or country that you think is already leading the future of design?
So yes, as per the data which is available and published, Singapore and Denmark. And that's how we are even collaborating with the foreign universities, where they are, how the research is happening and how design education is happening there. So that's with even India. Amsterdam. Singapore, as we all are aware, they again are focusing a lot on the sustainability, recycle practices, how regeneration is happening of products, or so as a small country, all the practices which they are doing towards, they are all related to maybe design thinking and even strategy, the strategies they are making. And yes, that's how they are, that's happening. And yes, we have been going ahead with few of the international tie-ups, especially with the Singapore University. I think they're visiting next week.
Okay, that's amazing. One final question. Actually, let me provide some background to this. My room has, right now, I've lost all the products. I mean, I've just deleted all the products from my room. I have the most minimal room that you can ever see, with white walls and a black table, and it has one computer on it. That's my room.
The minimalistic approach.
Very minimalistic approach. I love that approach. So minimalism or maximalism, what do you think has a bigger future, and what do you think is, according to you, in a personal choice, better?
Not as a personal choice, I would say. Neither minimalistic nor maximalistic. It's adaptive.
Yes.
Adaptive is then whatever the design space, the object is, it is adapting to the user. So that's we are going away from minimalistic and maximalistic approach. We are going towards the adaptive approach.
Something that can do both.
Not products. Both. It is, it's again, see, minimalistic and maximalism was more to do with the design. But now the approach is shifting towards the adaptiveness of the design. So how is it solving the problem? How is it beneficial for you? Maybe the ambience which you have is creating a calm. It's calming your mind.
There's no
so that has to, there are no distractions. The white walls are, helping to soothe, and maybe you're able to concentrate more rather than a maximalistic room. But then that approach has to be there, that it is adaptive, and you have to understand that. And as a designer, you have to approach with the use of the space, keeping in mind the user-centered design.
I think the max amount of kind of the technology, the maximum of it, and also the use cases of these technologies are just being shrunk down in size. And that's what technology and technology growth will do to it. Things will become smaller, and someday just nano.
Absolutely.
So that was the end of the quickfire round. So we have.
So was it good enough?
It was very.
It was
good.
Not a sentence, but maybe a short.
I think maximalism.
Yes.
You like it.
Okay.
So we'll live with it.
Yeah.
So any final advice for these young bright designers that are coming,
Yeah.
and they are in a very unique age
Yes.
where they have help
Mhm.
of a lot of tools and technology. They're not bound to the traditional methods. They can
Yes.
look up and see. I mean, anybody, anything that today as designers we imagine, it can
Mhm.
be done.
Yes.
5-10 years ago there were limitations to what could be done.
Limitations.
So what is that final thoughts that you would like to give as an advice to these young designers?
So I think they should need to take design as active,
Active.
because
Okay.
it's evolving so fast.
Yeah.
And that's how it's active. When we say active, it's evolving, it is adaptive,
Yeah.
and it is understanding people, it is problem solving.
Yeah.
So I think we can, a crazy word can be active. So a designer has to have an active mind.
Yeah.
Keep very conscious about the surroundings, what is happening around, what is the requirement, what is the need, how can he solve it, how can he make a design out of it. And that's how the designers succeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they have to be active, I guess.
Yeah.
Right now the competition is not only human.
Yes. Yes.
You have
It's
to be
with the
better than
AI
the computers.
also. No, but you have
Yeah.
to take AI along with you.
Yeah,
It's
it
as
does.
a, yeah,
It
as
will
your
help you grow.
assistant maybe.
Yes.
And maybe as in the future, when we were talking of the future, so
Yeah.
every designer can have an assistant AI,
Yeah.
which is helping them and supporting them
Yes.
with their design journey and their design profession.
So, staying on the topic of future of design, recently I
Yeah.
visited Sushant University for my convocation, and I was stunned to see one lab in particular,
Yes.
which was a very new lab and a very shiny lab at that.
Yeah.
That was the Apple lab. I mean, we
Yes.
had like so many
Yeah.
MacBooks, and what is the thinking behind it, and how did this change come from there, and how is this improvements coming?
Yeah, so again, it is for the students.
Yeah.
So whatever we are doing, developing, it is for the future of the students, how they're using. So tomorrow designers are going in the industry and they are using, with Apple coming, as
Yeah.
we all know that it is the best with the design.
Yes.
As for the designers. Yes, and then we are doing a lot of other things which are supporting the designer during your education, which
Yeah.
you have also experienced, but
Yes.
now it is more regulated. With your time, it was a little bit with the COVID thing.
Yeah.
But then,
yeah.
I mean, we lost a little time during that. But nonetheless, with when the students are there, so a lot of rigorous industry interaction is happening. To a matter that we have now included is as part of the timetable, where every Thursday and person from the industry is coming and
Okay.
interacting with the students. That is very important, so that while you are learning, so you are already knowing what is happening in the industry. People are sharing their experiences. Maybe I'll invite you as well one day, and you can share how you did your startup. That will be very helpful for the
Yes.
students.
Yeah.
How what are the challenges in the design industry, even to the supply chain, and how you're establishing your brands. They are doing a lot of international exposures, where when we have a MOUs with foreign universities, like recently our 12 students have just come back after doing a design workshop with
Yeah.
the foreign university. So how design is happening globally. Again, the lab,
Yeah.
how it is supporting their design education. Then industry plays again a very important role, because industry is also evolving very fast. They're doing a lot of live projects at the School of Design here. So Sushant University is supporting with a lot of MOUs with the industry.
Yeah.
And the live projects.
Yes.
So we are promoting a lot of live projects, the industry projects, which we call it as a classroom project. So it's a design brief given by industry. Students are working on that along with their mentors, your faculties, and then we give solutions to the industry for that. And also, we have set up the incubation cell, which I was sharing with you as well. So incubation cell is only for the students who want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Which is again the core strength which we are inculcating with our students. And 2 of the design and 2 engineering students have collaborated together, and we are helping them with their startup. So in that, the idea is that university would be supporting them for starting up the business. So we are there at the back end, which help them, maybe small little things like doing the documentation for maybe accounts, opening accounts, applying for GST, PAN, setting up the brand space. So they can use that space for 3 years still their business is established and they are well versed enough to
It's
have
a co-working
your
space.
it's
Yes.
kind of only for our students as a
Exclusive,
support
yeah.
and to promote the entrepreneurship. And yes, it is like you are one
So I'm allowed.
of the, yes, of course you can also
Yeah.
be there. So that's how
great.
these things which
Yeah.
are building up, and which I'm sure now you
Yeah.
understand how they will help a
It
designer.
is very
They're going
important.
to help a designer
Yeah.
to face the real world. So
Yeah.
that's like a hand holding for the students who want to have their own startups.
One more thing which a lot of my batch appreciated was we had this one project where we went to the engineering school and we
Yes.
collaborated with them. And there
Them.
was actually a professor that taught us a lot of these
Yes.
engineering principles. And that came in very handy, not only for when I applied to a patent,
Yeah.
also because I work in a product company
Yes.
that has a lot of engineers.
Yeah.
So it's not saying I can do their work,
Yes.
but at least I can understand what they do and kind of adapt on that way.
Way.
And that was a huge that our
Learning.
batch did
Yeah.
when we had that engineering collaboration.
No, that is I think the advantage which Sushant University offers, which is the transdisciplinary learning.
Exactly.
So when you are offered, you remember your TDCC,
Yes,
so the
yes.
transdisciplinary courses
Yeah.
in which a design student can go and do engineering course, a management student can come and do. So all the different schools, because they are all at one campus, so students can move from one school to the other. That is how we are building up a designer. You're learning your management skills, you learn how to file your PRs. For that, the legal support is there, the management support is there, then technical support, and the designer fits into that.
Yeah.
So that is also one of the most strength which
Yeah.
is offered at here at the Sushant University.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a side note, in one of these classes, I actually learned how to cook
Yes.
pav bhaji because
Yes.
we had a class in hotel management
Hotel
or something.
management,
Yeah,
yes.
and my mother was very
Yes.
stunned to hear
Okay.
that. Yeah, but it is.
No,
it is.
it is a big advantage. So you're learning, as how to set up your business.
Yeah.
So you can take up any course with the
Yes.
School of Business. You're more technology oriented, so you can take any course
Yeah.
in School of Engineering or even School of Architecture
School of
or
Law was
even
also there,
hospitality.
yes.
So as designers, especially with communication
Yeah.
design, when you're setting up brands. So maybe you can specialize into food photography or maybe doing communication and branding only for hotels.
Yeah.
And you can understand what the hotel
Yes.
business is
Yes.
from School of Hospitality. And that's
Yeah.
how all the 6-7 schools which we have at our university, I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know that
I did.
the campus and then the students movement is there, and that's the flexible curriculum which is
In
offered,
those-
and that's how we are building overall as a holistic approach for the learning environment which is provided
Yeah,
there.
in those 4 years, I dipped my toe in every school.
Yes.
So that it's a great learning experience,
Yes.
and also you get to meet a lot
And
of
it
people.
helps in the
Yes,
holistic
it is,
learning.
it is.
It's giving a holistic learning environment to
Yeah.
the students, and it's
yeah.
helping in their future. Yes.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. Thank you, ma'am. It was great to learn from you, and
Same here.
there was some interesting answers
Yes.
there. Yes. But I think the future is looking good of design.
Absolutely.
And it's looking very fun also at the same time.
The design, yes, you had a lot of fun at college.
Exactly.
Yes, so it's all learning with experience and
Yeah.
doing all different things, going to field visits, interacting with industry experts.
Yes.
So it's with design education, it's a lot of fun,
Mm.
lot of energy, and yes, we provide all that energy and vibrancy at our campus.
Yeah.
Yes, keep
That's great.
visiting.
I will. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.